What is going on, y'all? Happy Monday. This is Brandon.
This is Bryce.
Welcome back to Weekly Wrap Up. We really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. This is the live show where we review the books that came out last week. Get ready for this Wednesday. I have a few little segments in between, but this is our comic book review show. It's our live show. We're really grateful for everyone who tunes into this because we love interacting with everyone on this show. And this is really one of the only times we go live on the channel nowadays. I know that I'm kind of under the weather dealing with some stuff. But Bryce, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to be a little tired this week, I'll admit. Started the semester back today. But overall, not bad. My schedule is a lot more bearable than it was last semester. So hopefully, doing pretty well. Hopefully that keeps up.
Yeah, you sounded like you had a lighter schedule, so hopefully now on the back chat we'll get like less cranky Bryce,
It's definitely not lighter. It is definitely not lighter, but I'm not down there as long.
There you go.
I'm not on campus as long.
There you go. My week was a week. I got into a car accident. This was last week. I'm okay. Car's fine. I sprained my wrist, which is like bumps and bruises. My family got hit with whatever the hell's going on in the world. So I was taking care of them over the weekend, and now I got hit by whatever got hit by the world. So like I'm kind of dealing with that today, this week, while still helping out my family. So it's been a week. The Steelers are in the playoffs, which was literally the most stressful part of my Sunday. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you're a Raiders fan. You're my new best friend. So that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, as far as football goes, I've had a pretty chill past couple of weeks.
You guys lost to Detroit. Get over it.
With our backup quarterback in half
I'm
the
sorry.
time.
At least we had our backup quarterback, and we still tied. That's not a big – okay, you know what? I'm going to be quiet. But
I can't hear you from all the way in the 1 seed.
Ow. Damn. All right, so we got Travis in here. What's going on? TM, nerdy, part of the PCB Army Bad
Station.
Here. We got my man John Stout. What is going on, sir? Appreciate you stopping by, saying hi to everybody. Steven Smith is currently playing Lego Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Those Lego games.
I started rewatching the Harry Potter series. I just watched
Fun fact, I've never seen Harry Potter.
Yeah. See, that movie segment is what you're gonna be doing next week.
I'm open to that. Like Harry Potter, that's probably the one like blaring gap in my movie. Like I grew up on Star Wars and Lord of the Rings,
and you gotta get on Harry Potter.
And Spiderman.
Have you read the books? You gotta read the books, bro. You gotta read the books.
I don't know. I grew up in a somewhat strict household when it came to that sort of thing. My family didn't like a whole lot of like magic and stuff like that, but somehow like Narnia and Lord of the Rings slipped by.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings, that was always something I revisited like in my teenage years because like Harry Potter was the thing, Star Wars was the thing in my life, and then football. So between like various sporting events as a kid, like all of that really just escaped my life, I would say. But Harry Potter was always a big aspect. So yeah, Harry Potter was always like right there. So
I don't know. Once I saw Lord of the Rings, I never really had any desire to go watch Harry Potter because I knew I would always compare the two, and to me, Lord of the Rings is perfect.
You have not read Harry Potter, bro. You have to read Harry Potter because it's so much better than Lord of the Rings. It's so much better than all of that. We got JT. I'm
gonna give you a little bit to take that back, but
no, you won't because I'm right, and you don't know that. We have John Stout in here saying your Niners won. That's awesome, brother.
Hey,
I'm glad that the Niners are in the playoffs. Jimmy G, maybe this might be his last year as a 49er. We don't know yet. We got Eric Durant, the stash list now. What's going on, Big E? We got
stash list.
Hey, he's stash list. What's going on, Jay?
What's up, Omni Nation?
You ever met anybody that doesn't like Harry Potter? You'll love him for sure. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll like him. I don't know. As far as like magic goes, like
right.
Lord of the Rings will always be number one for me.
We got Adam in here. I haven't seen Adam in here in a while. Adam was one of the original followers of ComixKings back over on IGTV. And same with Melvin, who just finished up The Flash yesterday. I know Bryce has been looking to get into that.
I have both Omnis over there. Debating on whether or not to get the third one because I already have a lot of like the pre-Flashpoint stuff, but
Right. So Adam didn't say which one he liked better. He just said
very
they were both
different. Okay,
great.
that is fair. That is
Adam,
fair.
you're literally Switzerland in this conversation.
Maybe I won't compare the two. I just they seem rather similar.
Their genre is the same. Like they're in the same like kind of fantasy genre, but I wouldn't say that they're uncomparable because they are in that same. Boom! Oh wait, shit. Yo, this chat, y'all gotta choose. Y'all gotta choose. That's your job. By the end of the night, we're gonna choose which one is better, Harry Potter or Amazing Spider-Man. This was a big week in comics. Stick around to the end of the show because we are going to be talking about Inferno and telling you guys what the future of the X-Men is, or in our opinions, what is going to be happening in the future. Because we've been following the X-Men titles pretty religiously, or at least I have, and that has been a big segment on the weekly wrap-up, is talking about the X-Men and what Hickman has been doing. So we're going to give you guys that experience. We're also going to be talking about Thor later on in the show.
I need to get into The Witcher. I really want to get into The Witcher.
Not all of it up to Wally stuff because Volume 3 collects Barry leading at the Flashpoint.
Yeah, what you got against Barry, Melvin? Come on. Exactly. I mean, okay, I've admitted the past couple weeks that I do now like Wally a tad better, but it's still close to me. Barry will always hold a special place in my heart. That's the character who got me into comics.
Barry sucks. But anyway, Bryce, you have unboxing for us.
I do have an unboxing. Omni Nation, judging by your username, you're going to love this. So this is from Quick Plug. This is from OrganicPriceBooks.com. That is you. There we go. It's from OrganicPriceBooks.com.
I don't know what I'm doing.
They've got like a lot of great books and stuff to choose from. I know they've recently kind of
did it, boys.
Out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now we're going. Great packaging, super fast shipping. I ordered this probably the week of Christmas, and it's already gotten here.
That's awesome.
Compared to other discount sites,
like mine that I ordered from In Stock Trades before your pre-order process, and it still hasn't even been shipped yet.
This is what you would normally get in like just an entire box alone, but they sent me this big old box in order to fit all this extra bubble wrap in there to make sure the book got here safely. My buddy JP from the K-Squad Facebook group is the guy that runs it. And yeah, if you're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, go check out their social media. Or just visit their website, OrganicPriceBooks.com. I know I order a lot from them, and I have been yet to be disappointed.
And we're definitely going to be adding their description.
Here we go. Yep. Omni Nation has it right. Omni Nation has it right here. Now, I know I've ordered a bunch of stuff on Amazon before just because of like prices.
Bobby De La Ghetto.
Actually, real quick before I show this off, because this has been a long time coming, I do want to show something I found earlier today, kind of round out my Teen Titans binge.
Oh, yo!
New Teen Titans games, original graphic novel by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. Basically, after George, huh?
I said it looked a little like curved, like it was bent.
It is. That's why I got it discounted. It's still readable though. I got it super discounted because of that.
He says use code Day off every order.
Hey, yeah, seriously, this $2 order code's coming in handy. But yeah, this basically, after George Perez left the book for Crisis on Infinite Earths, he didn't come back, but he did and joined Marv about 30 years later in 2011. Yeah, almost 30 years later in 2011 to write this original graphic novel. So I have volume 8 of the New Teen Titans in the mail, which will have me having all 9 volumes of the Wolfman and Perez run and the graphic novel. But the omnibus that I just unboxed was Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yo!
I am so excited.
Let's go!
So, as much as I've grown up with Spider-Man and have loved Spider-Man since I was a kid, I've never read a whole lot of Spider-Man. Everything's just always been like movies, TV, video games, stuff like that.
Oh, dude,
We're
you're
gonna
gonna
take a
love
we're gonna
all
take a
this
look at this too. I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap this. You care if I do that?
stuff. Yo, Bryce, you're getting mad love in the yo.
I'm getting mad love. Yes.
That's the same cover I got. You know, whenever InStock Trades wants to process my order, because that would be really helpful. Especially because
I
I
knew
paid
I
extra
wanted
for
a.
that.
Okay,
Melvin, you
gotta
weren't
go
the
Mark
only
Bagley.
one who gave him that recommendation.
You Melvin told me which cover to get, and I agreed with him because you got to go Mark Bagley. But
That's what I said.
I remember I wanted to get a Spider-Man omnibus, especially after Spider-Man No Way Home, and I couldn't decide between this or some Silver Age stuff. But Brandon and Melvin sold me on Ultimate Spider-Man. So
Ultimate Spider-Man is one of my
dude, you got the
favorite
first third of the
all-time.
run of this.
Yo, let's get back to normal.
Hold
Oh
up.
my gosh, you gotta
Take a look at
stretch that
this.
spine. Is that sexual? In the okay, yeah, come on.
Stretch that spine. Oh, see, now part of me wishes I would have gotten the pinup cover, just because then I would have gotten all three covers.
Oh, damn. Steven says, I almost picked up Ultimate Spider-Man, but I'm going to wait for Miles on me. It's basically connect. They're different stories. And
Dude,
yes,
honestly,
we are both
yes.
getting Teen Titans by Johns when it comes out. That is a definite.
May
My Ultimate
31st.
Spider-Man Omnibus is going to be coming in soon, but definitely check out Organic Price Books. There are links in the description. We don't have a discount code. You got to go to BJ Kicks for that. Or, yeah, you got to go to BJ Kicks for that. But
maybe one day though, who knows?
Oh,
but yeah, I've got that. I got that in today, and then I've got Uncanny X-Men Volume 2 coming in either, I would say probably tomorrow or Wednesday at this point.
Dude,
like that is how fast they ship.
I need to get use Day's code too. Hey, you know what? For sure. You know what's up. You know what's up, brother.
We may not have the discount codes, but we got friends with them. So
exactly, that's all that counts. Not yet, you know. But to help us get a discount code, all you got to do is like and subscribe to the channel, and that helps us further our agendas to support other people, such as our Organic Price Books, our friends over at AWA, all of that other good stuff. You know. That was a really great segue. But yes, guys, a great way to help the show is to tell people about us. If you guys like this kind of a show, let us tell people what we do here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Even just being here at 8:00 every Monday helps us out a lot. So everyone here, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to check out this video. Everyone on the replay, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to check out what we have to say about these books and hear us kind of BS about books and all that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you guys, once I get into that Ultimate Spider-Man, you guys will be hearing about it for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm always on your left. Let's just get that straight.
Right, Steve Rogers.
All right. Let's get
what you read this week, B?
What I read this week, I was really impressed with Amazing Spider-Man this week by, I want to say Cody Ziegler, but I also think that was a baseball player. Yeah, Cody Ziegler. He was also a baseball player, same name. And Paco Medina did the artwork. That's why the art looks so familiar to me, is because Paco Medina did that work, and I'm a big fan of his work. I think Paco Medina's done some really solid work on the Avengers, and I'm glad that he did this. He did some issues of Children of the Atom, which was fine. The whole point of this is the Beyond Corporation has stolen like technology and ideas that Doc Ock had, or that was his work back when he was the Spectacular Spider-Man. Not the Spectacular, when he was a Spider-Man. When he was a Superior Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Okay, so we're playing off that part. So it's almost like reverse. Like Doc Ock is pissed off because the Beyond Corporation stole work and then hired Ben to go fight Doc Ock. So Doc Ock is obviously pretty pissed off. We got 62 Lefty Blues in here. What is going on? And we got Albert Langford in here. What's going on? Polaris and Rogue. Yo, I actually got the Polaris trading card cover for X-Men 6. But
hey, there you go.
What's really great about this book is you're rooting for Doc Ock. In a way, it's just like, you don't need to know that he was Superior Spider-Man. You just need to know that he's getting screwed over, and so is Ben. And Doc Ock is actually really mature in this issue because he's trying to teach Ben Reilly kind of like, okay, this is not what Peter would do, but this is also, you're in a shitty situation, but I'm also taking back what's mine. So he's not necessarily painting himself as the villain, but he's also not painting him. None of them are the villains. None of them are the heroes. But the Beyond Corporation is. Later, when Ben gets knocked out, the leader of the Beyond Corporation, Maxine, confronts him, and she's like, "You couldn't even take down like a real Spider-Man villain. Like, what good are you?" And it was like it was a little sad, and we kind of see some concepts of how he copes with it. They have this machine that just kind of takes him back and kind of helps him remember his purpose, you know? So he sees, like, when he puts on this, like, almost like a ring light over his head, he, like, sees Uncle Ben again. It's an interesting concept because Ben Reilly has all the memories of Spider-Man, but he'll never have that Uncle Ben moment. Like, he'll never live through that the same way Peter did, but he remembers it, like, he went through it. So you can see how that trauma could end up sometimes being worse because you get a scenario of, like this, like, a false sense of reality, but it actually happened. So Omni Nation says, Bryce, you are on a roll with Flash, Green Lantern, Ultimate Spidey. Yo, that's like...
Oh, the roll is going to continue with Uncanny X-Men Volume 2, and then probably Darth Vader by Charles Soule.
Who wrote this? Who wrote the issue, bro? This was Cody Ziegler did the story, who I'm not usually a big fan of, but he did good. Yeah. He did a good job on the story. The art was by Paco Medina, which I thought was really clean throughout. It felt like it felt cartoony. It felt almost like a cartoon, but with a little bit more dynamics to it. Like, if you know Paco Medina's art style, he works in kind of unconventional panels. He likes to use his space when he's doing action, which I really appreciate, which I think makes him a good fit for doing a Doc Ock story. And it was also really fun just to see, like, Ben and Doc interact. And then at the end of the issue, Doc Ock shows up and he's like, "Yeah, I'm seeing Maxine and I'm taking back what's mine." So I was like,
taking back what's mine.
And I'm just like, you know what, Doc Ock, you go. And I really, really, really want them to, like, stow away the Superior Spider-Man costume, and he puts it on. But technically, he doesn't own the brand of Superior Spider-Man anymore because Beyond Corporation owns the brand name of Spider-Man. But the Beyond Corporation is basically like they're dicks. So, but the only reason why Ben has, like, a job is because they're giving him an opportunity to be Spider-Man and kind of, like, giving him the therapy he needs to move forward. So it's almost like a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Or, which, like, what if...
Yeah.
I was going to say, what if with the whole Doc Ock thing, I mean, you could be onto something. He could, like, change the uniform a little bit to where it's not an obvious Spider-Man uniform and just be like Doc Spider or something.
Yeah. He did. Are we going to be picking up the Gotham Central Omnibus by Brubaker and Rucka? I'm interested in that. I just have to see where my money is.
Same. I will be considering it, but I know I am picking up a Brubaker Omnibus pretty soon with Captain America Lives.
Yeah. That was really good. Captain America Lives was a strong arc. I really, really enjoyed that.
It's going to be tough to top Death of, though.
Yeah.
It is going to be tough to top Death of.
I mean, you're getting into the psychedelics of Sharon and kind of, like, everything that she's been going through, so...
Say no more.
Yeah, it's like it's a trippy story, and you kind of feel for Sharon, but she got. I'm not gonna spoil it, but she's a great character. She gets a lot of growth in that volume. But
absolutely.
Gotham Central has always kind of been a book that's interested me. It's just, like, never got around to it. It's like one of those books, like, you don't need to be a fan for people who are like, okay, you're just gonna like it, but you don't need to read it right away. It's like a book you can wait 5 years for. It's like reading Immortal Hulk. It's like everyone across the board loves a story. Is it a book where you can necessarily go into? It can wait. You know, it's like one of those stories.
Yeah, no, like if you're telling me it's like, oh yeah, no, I've got these 2 books here. I'm not sure which to read first. You've got, like, Thor by Jason Aaron, for example, or Immortal Hulk. Then you're going with Thor by Jason Aaron or Captain America by Brubaker. Like, Gotham Central, it does intrigue me, and I like the fact that it doesn't have Batman in it.
Right.
However, I still personally want a strong Bat family presence.
Right. Yeah, Melvin, you have to check out the Cap run. It's essential. It's honestly one of my favorite stories. If we're talking about, like, modern gems, Secret Invasion is up there for me. Like, that's including Bendis' New Avengers, like, building up to Secret Invasion. I'm entailing that. I'm entailing Ultimate Spider-Man. Jason Aaron's Thor is in there. This is in there.
Bendis' Daredevil.
Bendis' Daredevil is in there. So if we're talking about like essential like Marvel books that like I would read, I would say that one across the board is in there. Not because he's my favorite
Yeah.
character, but just because of the way that this book is written, the style of Steve Epstein's artwork with Mike Perkins as well. It is fantastic. I
Oh yeah.
absolutely love that book. I'll also throw, if you want to read Fantastic Four, I'd also say Mark Waid's Fantastic Four is really strong. And I kind of, after reading both him and Hickman's, I will say I still prefer the Mark Waid run, just by a hair.
Well, Hickman, you're obviously getting Hickman's style in there, which is
It
very
was not really a Hickman style book. It had like cross
really.
books with that and like the Future Foundation, but it didn't feel anything like what he's doing with like Decorum or X-Men. I wouldn't say it's like anything like that. I would
Okay.
say it's
Yeah.
more comparable to Secret Warriors, and it's a simple story with a bigger narrative. I mean, that is essentially Decorum. I'm currently reading New Avengers for the first time, loving it all. Haven't read any of Brubaker's Cap. Yo, another book that I throw in there is Matt Fraction's Hawkeye. That's another one of my favorites. And Astonishing X-Men. Those are books that I'd recommend off the bat.
I mean, yeah. No, I
House
mean
of M.
that's
Yeah, that's it. That's really it. But New Avengers
I
is
would
great, man.
I would say any Daredevil run almost from Bendis to now is an essential read, even like the Mark Waid and Charles Soule stuff. Now, granted, I have not. Admittingly, I have not read it all, but just given the track record of the Daredevil character, I would say that
I wouldn't
is
say
a statement with
I wouldn't
some
try and hum
validity.
Wade. I liked Wade's Daredevil. Wade being one of my favorite favorite writers. I'd say I would say out of like any book in my collection, I would say like chances are I have more Mark Wade than anything else, either Wade or Bendis. But I wasn't always impressed with his Daredevil. I'd say like more of my favorites here is like his Fantastic Four, his Black Widow. I would say was really strong. Kingdom Come was very strong. His Flash was very strong. His Superman was great. What else? He's just done a lot of work. Champions is great.
Yeah,
But his Daredevil was not as high on my list, and neither is Charles Soule's. Like they're both like you can read them when you got the time to, but I wouldn't say it's anything to like push the board.
that's fair. But Melvin is right here though. Even with that being said, like even if Mark Waid or Charles Soule isn't the first Daredevil run you recommend, the bar is set so high that still isn't even a
Right, it's solid work.
it isn't a like a derogatory statement of any kind.
Okay, Daredevil by Charles Soule feels like an AC/DC concert. That's all.
Oh, sick.
Like it's kind of rock and roll, but also it's like a lot of noir vibes. Like it's literally a noir rock and roll. That's exactly what it is. Really.
That sounds awesome though.
Kingdom Come is overrated. I would say considering that DC doesn't, that's one of DC's stronger Elseworld stories and what it did to bring fans back into DC, especially that with Alan Ross's art. I would say I enjoyed it for that, but I can definitely understand like if you're not a DC fan, why you wouldn't be saying why you would say that.
I would honestly say that about Watchmen at this
I like
point.
the Swords Run if only for Ron Garney's artwork. Yeah, which Ron Garney is fantastic. He's a great friend of the show. So I'll always recommend that. And I'm looking at that Omni right now, and it's great. I love it. I definitely have to read it.
Yeah, I need to get the Soul Daredevil on me, but who knows?
What'd you read this week, Bryce?
What did I do? What did I read this week? Well, speaking of different strokes, I actually really enjoyed Batman this week.
Oh.
Was it predictable? Yes. Did I have a lot of fun with it though? Also, yes. So I'm discounting points from it for it being rather predictable and a little cheesy, but I had a lot of fun with it. And to me, like my favorite Batman books are the ones that I have fun with. That's why I'm kind of hesitant to visit Dark Knight Returns, but yet I love like Long Halloween. Hey, John said it first, okay? John said it first. Yeah, this is basically Batman versus Lex Luthor in a battle of wits. It's been a very Joshua Williamson's writing this book, Jorge Molina and Adriano De Benedito and Mike.
Didn't like Mikhail Janin do like some of
Mikhail
the
Janine.
Yeah, he did the
did
Lex
the-
Luthor part. I was like, that looks familiar.
Yeah, like there are 3 artists on this book, but they blend really well.
Yeah.
Tomio Morey is still doing the colors. So if you really like the art in James Tynan's run, you're at least getting the colors carrying over. And Jorge Jimenez is going to come back soon anyway.
Yeah, he's come back after this arc. He needed a break.
He did need a break, and he deserves one. But this has been very much going back to Batman's detective roots so far. And like I said, this issue is a battle of wits. Luthor at the end of the last issue meets Batman at this crime scene. Batman Inc. is currently being investigated for the murder of this character known as Abyss. And so Luthor essentially calls law enforcement on this, or like a SWAT team of sorts, on Batman because they are instructed to shoot any Batman on sight. So Batman gets away, is like, see you soon. And so Luthor and Bruce Wayne end up meeting for dinner. Apparently Luthor knows Bruce Wayne's identity. I didn't know this.
When you're working with the Joker, I would say, like, when you're both in like the Legion of Doom, I would say it's pretty obvious. Also, Lex is one of the smartest people in the world.
Get passed around. I and that's why I was able to believe it, because I'm like, okay, DC has said that Lex Luthor is their smartest person in this universe,
right?
And so I believe it that he figured it out, but I didn't know if this was something that was previously established or he just found out. But either way, I would believe it. So they have a nice dinner that's filled with some tensions. Bruce goes to lose his cool, as Bruce tends to. But they are able to come to an understanding. They didn't resolve anything, but they came to an understanding. There's a dead body of this Abyss character involved. Luthor's going after it, which means Batman has to go after it.
Well, Luthor transported him like somewhere else, and Batman's like, I knew you were going somewhere else because this body's 2 months old and shit like that. What's going on? Architectural from panels and columns. Welcome.
What is up? But no, so they think they transported the body, but turns out this body's just a couple months old. The lights go out, and this Abyss character is still alive. And so this is our formal introduction to the character of Abyss, who looks really cool. Actually, I'm kind of getting some.
It came out like a dark RoboCop. That's what I thought.
True. So I'm getting like some Jinx from Arcane vibes. If like Jinx from Arcane mixed with Moon Knight, like that is Abyss back there in the background. Here, I'll put it a little closer.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's just the vibe that I got. So they fight it out. Abyss proves to be a fitting foe enough to apparently seemingly make Batman go blind, at least temporarily. So he is literally blind as a bat now. It's cheesy. It's kind of dumb, but I love it, especially when it's written by Joshua Williamson. I honestly had a blast with it.
Well, I think Abyss is like kind of left some of himself like covering up Batman, because he says like, I'm here in the darkness. Yo, we got Raging Cajun in here. What's going on, brother? We got Rude 6. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Raging has a great show every Sunday where he sits down with a member of the comic community, so definitely check that out. If there's a moderator in here that wants to drop Raging's YouTube, definitely do that. And then Melvin asked, are we going to be checking out the new She-Hulk title coming out next week? I will be. Rainbow Rowell, and the art is by the same guy, Rohei Antonio, I think who's doing it off the top of my head. So I'm excited for that, because Rohei Antonio did a lot of great work in Conan with Jim Zub, and then Rainbow Rowell has been a critically acclaimed writer. I've not read any of her Runaways, but
me neither.
I might visit that title one of these days when I get a handle on a backlog. And what is my backlog? Who the F knows?
Who knows? I might be checking it out. I'll look into it. It's not likely, but I will. It'll be a game day decision, as our buddy BJ Kicks likes to call it.
How negative do I want to be? Because I have a bunch of books here and I didn't enjoy most of them. Let's talk about this book I didn't care about. Detective Comics number 1047 by Makio Tamaki, Ivan Reyes. The only thing I cared about was Ivan Reyes is the artist. Because Makio Tamaki continues to write a very, very mediocre story. And I'm like, this is your breakout title. You work great with Gotham characters. You cannot write Batman. You cannot write You can write concepts of Gotham, you just can't write the actual setting, right? Without repeating yourself 50 freaking times. But I thought Makio Tamaki would have a little bit more balance with the Bat family characters that she introduces. We get some of Orphan, we get some of Batwoman, but we didn't get a whole lot. And the whole point of this is to build the Arkham Tower because Arkham Asylum got destroyed, and we need to build it because nothing else is going on. That's the purpose of the story, by the way. And so we simulate.
That's just now getting like touched on again,
right?
Or like rebuilt.
Yes, but like what kind of messed me, I was like, all of a sudden this thing just gets like built up, and I was like, oh, okay, so we're just gonna simulate a few days. It's like you're playing Madden and you're simming the season, and like all of a sudden like there's a new expansion team. That's exactly what happened, and I wasn't for
Skipping David Aldridge in 2K, like
exactly. So
Rome wasn't built in a day, but Arkham was.
But the weird thing is I can't really tell you what this book is about, other than they're building a giant tower to hold criminals that are trying to take over said tower. Because the plot goes absolutely nowhere, and I just don't care to invest myself in this book. I'll be checking out the next issue, 1048, coming out this week, because it's a 12-part series coming out for every issue comes out one of these weeks. So DC is saying, hey, guys, we're going to make it a point to make sure there's a Batman book on the shelf every single week, just so you know that's exactly what you're getting. Or you can be like Architecture from Panels and Columns. Wow, that's a mouthful. Saying, only DC book I'm reading is Lonely City, which is great. I
Cliff Chang. You can't go wrong.
Love that book. I absolutely love Catwoman Lonely City, and everyone should be reading it. If you're not reading it, it is honestly the best Catwoman we've ever had. Arkham built it in a day. It was like, okay, cool. Always raging, always.
Yeah. Architectural, if you want some DC Rex going on right now, we can give some to you, but if not, you got a heck of a pick right there. I'm currently not reading that book, but I trust Cliff Chang with just about anything, and I can't wait to try it out eventually.
Yeah, I'm just like, Ivan Race did the art. Great. He's doing the art next week, too. So I'm like, or the next issue. So I'm like, great. Yes, and Human Target has been so impressive. And if you guys want a few other DC books that I've been enjoying, I encourage you to check out Supergirl, also written by Tom King. I encourage you to check out Nightwing, but we've been said that on the show.
Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing is great. Son of Kal-El, I didn't particularly enjoy this issue.
Dark Knights of Steel is a must.
Dark Knights of Steel. Yeah, everyone loves Lonely City. It is Cliff Chang is doing the artwork, the story, the lettering, the coloring.
He's doing everything.
He's like the MVP, man. He's like your Jason Tatum and can guard all 5 positions. Like that guy is great. And Seabrace, we're talking Duke players today.
Only reason I'm not reading Lonely City or Human Target is because with Tom King miniseries and Black Label books, I make it a point to trade a hardcover weight just because I know that those books are going to do great as a binge.
Right. This is going to be
Supergirl is going to be a great binge. Human Target's going to be a fantastic binge.
But you know what? You know what really pissed me off?
Strange Adventures, when it gets the deluxe treatment, binge.
Yep. What really pissed me off, I had the hardcover sitting right here, and I was like, I haven't read this yet. I read like half of it, but I didn't finish. What really pissed me off is Daniel Warren Johnson's Beta Ray Bill got a paperback, and I'm like, this sucks. Like Marvel, you need to get on. You need to do what DC's doing right now and doing hardcovers. Dude, go back to hardcovers.
Well, no, you saw how Wonder Woman Dead Earth got treated.
Yeah, and it looks great. Well, that was also oversized, but like
I mean, it was oversized to begin with, but I'm just saying, like,
where do I have it here? Yeah, I have it right here.
DC can do whatever they want with the reprints, even if but I don't know. Beta Ray Bill, even if it's only 5 issues. Well, one, if you're going to get like a deluxe hardcover like that or like an oversized, you would need to include the first few issues of the Donnie Cates Thor run in there to get the build up for Beta Ray Bill. So there is enough content there for a deluxe.
Now, here's the thing. Marvel used to do hardcovers like this Secret Invasion, and it's gorgeous, right? Because you get everything, right? Everything's like, you get the covers, you get the story kind of in a nice format. The paper quality is great. The binding is great. You get some scripts in the back. DC does that in their hardcovers now, and that's like really my only complaint between the two industries is DC has a much better hardcover game. I'm not even going to lie. Also,
Yeah.
that would be a great hardcover right there. Nice house on
Oh,
the lake.
they need to
And
take a page out of Boom Studios for that one and do the
right.
slipcase.
Yes. And Sheena's in the house. What's going on, girl? What's going on?
But
How you
yeah,
doing?
like Doctor Strange the Oath
Historia.
got an oversized hardcover.
Yep.
Oh, Wonder Woman Historia. I am waiting on a hardcover treatment
Beta
for that.
Ray.
I'm
Yo,
intentionally
Beta
not.
Ray is, if I were to rank my top like 5 books of 2021, I would say that's in there. It's right up there with Many Desolate Star and Swamp
Yeah.
Thing for
Yeah.
books that like I've enjoyed.
And Nightwing,
Yeah,
probably.
those covers are great, you know.
Wonder Woman Historia. How many
Ruth
issues is that, by the way? Is that like
Which one?
Wonder Woman Historia? Do you know?
It'd be 3, I think.
3 issues? Okay, so that hardcover could be coming out. That hardcover is going to be coming out by summertime.
Right. What else did you read, Brad? We have books to talk about. We have books to talk about.
Do have books to talk about.
Movies that we didn't watch. Harry Potter that you didn't watch. By the way, if you guys are, I'm a Hufflepuff. If anyone wants to share their Harry Potter house, go for it. I know Bryce is a Ravenclaw, but I know that you guys, I want to see some more Hufflepuffs in the chat. If you're a Gryffindor, don't even bother comment. I'm kidding.
I'm gonna touch on one because it was, and then I'll steal another one and do it and talk about a really good book.
Okay, you're gonna steal one.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about one and then do it.
Okay,
so
is it a book I didn't like? Okay, good. I didn't like this book. I hated this book.
I thought it was kind of funny. I thought it was kind of humorous. As Robbie would say, it's all right. But hey, there you go, Steven. There you go. The art changes. I understand them, but they're still very jarring.
Comics in here. What's going on, man?
I liked the meta aspects that this book took, especially with President Superman and Dr. Multiverse. But that didn't go the direction I wanted it to. Instead, it kind of turned into like, oh, this guy, like they were all on our Earth. And at one point, President Superman and Dr. Multiverse were writing an issue for DC Comics to affect their universe.
Yeah, I was like, this is so stupid.
I eat that stuff up, though. The more meta it is, the more I love it. But they ended up turning it into where the editor they reported to ended up being Darkseid, and I would have rather him just been an actual editor for DC Comics.
Yeah, I was like, that's weird. I'm like, Darkseid's the editor. Who'd have thought? Thank you,
yeah, Darkseid's the editor. Like, I love Joshua Williamson. But this whole multiversal stuff, I think, is just too much for anybody to handle. I understand the necessity, and I find a good bit of enjoyment in it. However, and I admire the attempt. I admire the attempt, but I wish if you were going to do a meta issue, you would have just done a meta issue.
Yeah, I was like
Crossover's been doing that perfectly. There was a meta issue. There was like a super meta issue of a book. Flash, Jeremy Adams, Flash number 776.
Oh, yeah, that was meta.
Dr. Fate literally pointed at the reader. Like, if you're going to do a meta issue where comic books exist in that universe, then do that.
Right.
But don't make Darkseid the editor.
I'm like, that's stupid. Yeah, see, that was like kind of like, okay, you're having too much fun and no one cares about what DC Comics is. That's my biggest complaint with this book, is this is your infinite frontier. This is what's explaining the multiverse, the threats that are coming to this new timeline, this new kind of post-crisis pre-game to the real crisis that we're in. And I think DC is pre-gaming to their real crisis. This is the Sinestro Corps War to their Blackest Night. You know, we're going to hit Blackest Night, then we're going to hit Brightest Day. I think that's what they're doing, but on a Darkseid scale level, like concept-wise with how they're formatting their events. And it's just like they're doing it in such a way that's so non-cohesive. And you've never seen any of these characters in 10 years because none of these characters were in the New 52. And that's hurting the story more than anything is you got readers used to concepts such as the New 52, where you can start from kind of a blank state and it introduces you to almost every hero. How do we know it's not almost every hero? Because the ones we didn't see are showing up in this book as our main protagonists.
Yeah, and I don't know. It
that's
does
basically
make me
what it
curious.
is. We're in the playoffs. And we're trying to get Barry Allen back, but we got to go through Darkseid first with a bunch of randoms. Basically, you're taking the practice squad of the New York Jets and the second string to the 2007 Miami Dolphins when they sucked ass, and you're putting them together. Sorry.
Now I do like the addition of Avery and Flashpoint Batman.
See, that was a good dynamic. but Captain Carrot, whatever his name is, or Roger Rabbit, whatever was it. Yeah,
Captain
Rabbit.
Carrot.
Captain Carrot. Yeah, it's like he's familiar, but I understand they're trying to walk you through like these Earths that are not
Yeah.
established. Like, oh yeah, by the way, this is like Earth 15, or like this is Earth 7, and this is how Earth 33
We're
interacts with
Earth
Earth
33.
17. And I'm just like, oh. And comic book readers are on, and comic books are made on Earth 33 and get transported throughout the multiverse. Got it. Jim Shooter had that in mind in the Bronze Age. Do better.
Well, that's like, I mean, I guess there is a major pot. Like, I can say I'm a character in DC Comics now because Earth 33 was obviously
yeah,
us.
Hey,
Huh?
give me a high five. Give me a high five. Oh wait, hell yeah, Bryce. Boom. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
characters.
it was fun, but they went a direction I didn't want to go. But a book I really did enjoy was Dark Knights of Steel #3.
Why are you doing 2 issues in a row? Fine, do Dark
Because
Knight of
that's what I
Steel.
just said I was doing, and you
Oh,
said
I
okay.
didn't listen. Or you can just call it the Minnesota Vikings. So much potential and nothing but disappointment. I agree.
I mean,
I think the Darkseid thing may work out just because we haven't seen the characters.
true.
I think that could work, but also Darkseid lives outside the multiverse, so technically he has known these characters throughout their existence.
And the
Because
fact
he
that
can
they're
hear
using
them.
they're using Darkseid as like an everyday type villain, which makes me curious about who the villain is going to be for that crisis and how big they're going to be.
Oh, and we saw
I'm still excited. I'm still curious. Yeah.
We had the Batwoman when we laughed, and I was like, that's awesome. That was cool. I'll give him that. Good job, Joshua.
But yeah, Dark Knights of Steel, this issue was near perfect, in my opinion. This issue was fantastic. Honestly, if 2 other books this week hadn't come out, this would have been my pick of the week. And I think you guys know exactly what 2 books I'm talking about. But we open up with John Constantine looking out through a telescope. They notice something falling from the sky, which I want to say is Black Lightning's son. No. Go pack go in this room.
Ew.
But yeah, we see Black Lightning's son falling out from the sky, only to cut to the house. I'm calling it the House of L because it basically is the House of L. With all this being reported, Clark is still being a little turd because to Bruce because he finds out that they're half brothers in the first couple of issues. So Clark is still. I don't even know. Tom Taylor for some reason likes making Clark Kent a jerk. Speaking of injustice, like Melvin just.
Redskins forever, the standing say, but we are Super Bowl champs.
This is Super Bowl champs.
Let me know what Dan Snyder pays you after this show.
Hey, Chet, fun fact, you and the Redskins will be watching the playoffs from the same spot. But no, yeah, I mean, yeah, Clark's a sick. No, Tom Taylor just loves making Clark like that for some reason. But
he made him a villain in Injustice.
Yeah, exactly. But we basically get a little bit of meeting there, followed by our introduction to the Metal Men of this universe, which I thought was really cool. But they don't last very long because this universe's Supergirl, called Zara Jor-El, is on like a killing spree. I don't know what the deal is, but she's on a killing spree. I think obviously because of the death of her father. But we get some stuff with the Amazons. There's a lot of talking in this issue. But the Kingdom of the Amazons, Black Lightning's kingdom, they meet, they have an alliance going, and they agree to go to war with the Elves if necessary, both of them siding with each other. Diana doesn't like this because her and Supergirl have a bit of a relationship going on, and so she storms out to go warn the Elves.
Bryce, who's the artist on this book?
Oh, Yasmin Putri. Thank you. Yasmin Putri, who is doing a phenomenal job, by the way. I just get so enthralled with the story that I get so...
BJ, are you talking about for Justice League or for X-Men?
The new team name Yeah, I would say it's still
Shout out
Nightwing,
Supergirl.
Steven, but yeah, shout out to Supergirl. They're talking about killing sprees before.
What's up, Manny Chamorro?
Oh man, that's funny.
Guys, Manny has been doing a lot of comic book reviews lately, so definitely go check him out.
Manny's different perspectives. Is that Chamorro?
That is Chamorro.
Love the rebrand, man. Love the rebrand. But yeah, she doesn't need to go warn the elves because Supergirl confronts Black Lightning in the middle of the ocean, kills him, and he then dies in Constantine's arms. Yeah, saying that Anissa, who I'm guessing is his daughter, is the queen now.
Yep.
I can't remember his.
She's gonna be pissed off. She's gonna
be a force to be reckoned with too.
Right.
But we also find out before it ends that Bruce, being half Kryptonian, is very much affected by kryptonite.
Right. And also, make sure, I know this one of my favorite shows on Thursdays didn't happen this week, but it will hopefully be back next week. And that is the Hangout Show with BJ Kicks. We highlighted him earlier. Make sure you guys check him out as well.
Yeah, for real.
That's where we know a lot of people in this community. It's from from also not only the PCP live chat, but also the Hangout Show. That's a great channel as well. BJ Kicks, he was in here earlier. Definitely give him a sub as well. And
Absolutely.
Manny loves us.
Love you back. Love you, Manny.
Or was he? But anyway, yeah, let's talk about. I'm gonna steal this one from you since you pulled a fast one on me. Let's talk about Thor by Donnie Cates and Nick Klein. This is issue number 20. I absolutely loved this book. This would have been my pick of the week, but it wasn't my pick of the week, Robbie, because
Robbie's gonna hate us eventually.
Robbie don't even watch the show,
fair.
except for when he's on it.
Except for when he thinks I'm Jeff Lemire.
Right. So the whole premise of this story is Thor and Mjolnir aren't getting along. Thor and his father aren't getting along. Odin and his ex-wife Freya is not getting along, and Lady Sif is trying to keep the peace, and Angela is also trying to keep the peace. So the Thor family right now is basically the Kardashians when Daddy doesn't give them their paychecks.
Thor and basically his entire life.
Brother Joe,
what's going on, man? And yes, Dad, I did have a sweet Carson Palmer Bengals jersey when I was a kid. I also have a hat signed by half of the 2009 team in my room. Fantastic.
So we figure out that the person who is killing throughout the realms, right, is actually Mjolnir, because when Thor and Odin are arguing, they're having a big argument, right? So Odin opens his mouth out to Thor because everything that Thor has been dealing with lately is just because all of Odin's spells are not working, right? His spell for Mjolnir to be based off of how worthy you are. His spell to keep Donald Blake in the other dimension. His spell to keep Beta Ray Bill looking the way he does. Take care. Hope to see you back here. Thanks for joining in. Have a great rest of your night, man. Take care.
Take care, man. Peace.
So it was really enjoyable about this for me was kind of the dialogue, the banter going on to be between Thor and his father, and kind of Thor being a new king, but this is what his father has set up for him. It's almost like when you pass the presidency down to the next person, but leave a crap ton of legislation that is not going on. Do you think they have a street hammer? I don't know, but so we go over to Jotunheim, and Loki's like, yeah, Mjolnir killed everyone. And so there's a myth going on that they're discussing at a dinner table where it's the god of hammers. And Odin's like, yeah, that's a myth. It's not real. And Loki's like, bitch, please, we're all walking myths. Come on. That's why we're mythology. Wow, that was a tongue twister for me to say. Norse mythology, everybody. Norse mythology. Cool. So we get a little flashback
North
to
mythology.
North mythology. You know what we're trying to do, right? And so eventually, Lady Sif takes Thor. She comes to the Bifrost, and they take him to Broxton, right? And Mjolnir basically stole the show, and we get Mjolnir coming in full rage, but it is the god of hammers who appears, and he's like, I'm the god of hammers. I'm Mjolnir. Mjolnir has spoken, and you are not worthy, and I hate you. So Mjolnir is the villain. The god of hammers is going to be setting up this next arc. and it is basically going around killing people because it has a gripe with Thor that we have yet to learn about. I really enjoyed this book. Nick Klein back on art is fantastic with Matthew Wilson's colors, who I think is the best colorist in the game. There's no doubt about that, except maybe Marte Gracia. But other than those two, no one else really comes close. Maybe you can argue Dave Stewart, but
Tamara Bob Dylan?
no, you can't argue that.
I can.
But she's not.
I can. That. Once in future.
Okay, she's in the top 5.
But yeah, I mean, that's how you know Thor. Like, to me, that is how I know Thor is going to be a top tier issue. If it has Nick Klein on the if Nick Klein is in the byline, it's going to be a banner issue.
Right.
Like that has been the trend. That has been the trend of this run for the past 20 issues. Issues 1 through 6, big, bombastic, epic. All had Nick Klein drawing it. 7 and 8 didn't have Nick Klein drawing it. We're still good. Kind of a little bit of a lull setting up this whole God of Hammers thing, even that far back.
Right.
Yeah, the prey arc.
Kardashian is Loki. I would say Loki's more like Courtney because in this issue, I think Courtney was actually the most intelligent one, being Loki. So,
wow, that narrows. But yeah, I mean, wow, that narrows it down.
Y'all too much right now.
But yeah,
this run too,
yeah, it's really diving deep into into like all of Thor's mythos that has just kind of been accepted for the past 50, 60 years. Like right. Donald Blake, Mjolnir, all of that has just been part of Thor's history. Like, no, this is coming back to bite him in the butt, mostly because Odin was a terrible person.
Right. Bryce, by the way, how many books do you have left?
I have 2, and you can probably guess what they are.
Inferno and X-Men, okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'll take Inferno at the end. I'll talk about Superman for a little bit. I read Superman Santa Kal-El by Tom Taylor and John Timms. Should have talked about this when we were on the Tom Taylor bandwagon, but this story, a lot of people's biggest gripes with this book is their overflowing political views with story continuity and story perspectives. So it's supposed, people are saying like it's part of the woke America, and that Tom Taylor is using a certain perspective to gain a certain readership. And my argument to that is maybe that readership needs that kind of a voice, right? But this was kind of a little overkill in like the fact that it was all a political setup when we're trying to explain the main antagonist, who is the leader of Gamora, and his name is, it sounds like Brian Bendis, but it's something Bendix, and I'm just like, I forget his first name, but his last name is Bendix. I always read it as Brian Bendis because I'm like, that's a name that I know. But
Brian Bendix?
It's not Brad Bendix. It's someone else.
Okay, his
last name is Bendix, but I always read Brian Bendis just because I'm like, maybe he's just saying you shouldn't have aged Superman up or John up. But we're getting more information about Jay's powers, and this is a setup. And how they explain Bendix is very familiar to it's retconning an American election, or it's like in my mind it's speaking to an American election that was really controversial and recent, like today. So it's like I'm like, Tom, I love you, but this was where I felt like, okay, I could see what you're doing here, and I don't exactly appreciate it. We find out that James' parents are still alive, so cool. And I'm gonna be writing with this book. John Timms is back on art, so I'm gonna keep reading it. But I was not impressed with this issue. We see Damian come in, so we get that kind of a reunion. I don't think Tom writes it. I think Tom Taylor really just wanted to use Damian, and what was weird is he still has his Robin logo on, which he doesn't in today's continuity because Damian is out not being Robin, doing everything his dad told him not to do. So
I mean, he's still, Robin. Like his title's Robin. He calls himself Robin in that book, and so that is the continuity I'm going by because it's his book. But
right, this was a
he's not with Batman.
Right, but it was also you're wearing the costume that you left in, but you don't technically have a costume right now because we're still in the pit, right? We're still on
Yeah.
the island. So I was like, I don't think this was the most appropriate time to use that reunion, that little Super Sons reunion. And there was just a lot of misses in this issue, but Tom Taylor has impressed me across the board, so I'm not going to shit on it.
Well, especially, okay, the thing that bothers me, though, like, I'm okay if your books don't connect.
Ouch. Anyway, you were saying?
I would prefer it if the books talk to each other and if the books connected, because then I feel like I'm being rewarded for reading more books.
Right.
But if you're like, just have a little bit of consistency. Like, make sure your character's in the right costume. And even it, like, Damian, again, going by the Robin continuity, is not even in this time period right now. So, like, if you're going to use characters in different situations and they're not going to talk to each other, at least make it to where, like, they're in the same time.
Oh, no, they spoke to each other. They had a long conversation, but I was like, Damien's not in a place where he can think about anyone other than himself and the people that he's surrounded by. And right now, it's not John. He is like more Damien things to worry about than John. You know?
Yeah.
I would say he's more family matter. Like, they're both dealing with their own families. Let them, you know?
He just got Alfred's ghost out of his ear.
Yeah, and I was like, let him deal with this. And he's going to have his grandfather's in the other ear. So it's just like...
Much. Or his actual grandfather now, like 7 years ago.
I thought this issue was a bust. It was a big, old, fat bust. And this is the first issue of this series, or of a Tom Taylor book as of the past, like, year and a half, that I've actually, like, can sit in front of you guys and say I didn't like. So it's nothing to write home about. I was just like, I think you got caught up in your continuity and your annuals, you know. If this came out, like, before all those annuals and shit, you know what, fine. But you know what? You're doing a lot. I get it. But also, this is a character that is really well known on Twitter. So you know that you got to make this book great.
On the bright side, Seven Secrets is coming back in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. On the bright side, that is coming back. And on the bright side, now
seriously, yeah, issue 13 is dropping. I'm hyped.
Right. Now we get to talk about X-Men number 6 and Inferno number 4. So grab a bowl of popcorn. This is going to be a long one.
This is going to take a little bit. Yeah, X-Men number 6, not so much. This is by Jerry Dugan, art by Pepe Larraz, colors by the ever so great Marte Gracia. And nothing should have worked about this issue. I'm just going to be honest. Nothing should have worked.
Oh, other than the fact that Jerry Dugan's a genius?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it kind of did. So we get introduced to this Captain Krakoa character. He's saving cats out of trees. He's hanging out with Spider-Man. He's saving people, just doing what a typical superhero does. No one knows who this Captain Krakoa character is, though. At least not yet. We cut to a quiet council meeting. Cyclops is opposed to this Captain Krakoa idea, but he gets overruled. Okay, we think that's all said and done. You know, hey, like, Captain Krakoa is just going to be joining the X-Men, sure. Except we've still got some Orcus stuff going on. Orcus is trying to inhabit a moon near Araco,
right,
which is going to cause some tension between Krakoan mutants, Aracan mutants, and humans.
See, this is why...
Yes.
This is why you listen to Weekly Wrap Up, because we get you back onto X-Men, and we save your pull list.
So we get some fights there. This Phelan dude with Orcus has these sort of powers. I imagine there's going to be stuff that's touched on there more. And this moon, known as Phobos, I believe, is inhabited by Orcus now.
Right.
And real quick, my favorite part of this book. Blurred Murdoch.
That was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible. Justice is blind and so are we. I love that. But yeah, it cuts back to this whole Captain Krakoa thing. And we see a memorial for Cyclops. And I get really confused. Only to find out that Captain Krakoa is Cyclops. And that is the only thing where I'm still trying to
Well, we kind of got hints of that. I was like, we kind of got hints of that in X-Men #1. I think, or like whenever like him and Xavier were talking, it's like there was a like, okay, are you ready to step up as a leader? Like, come on, you were my first student, and he was like, yeah, you know. But now it's like, okay, we're going to cut back, and he's like, well, I don't think like I should have a say, and they're like, yeah, but we're the Quiet Council.
Exactly, and that's the only part of this book where I'm still kind of on, especially where Scott Summers is now dead to the world.
Yeah, because I think that they want to sell like Captain Krakoa as like their mascot, kind of like their face, and it's like Cyclops is their face. I hate to say it, but Cyclops is the face of the X-Men. It's not Wolverine. It's not anyone else. It is Cyclops. He is the first student. He is the first leader. Not the best leader. He is the first one. Not the best leader. He's not a great leader, but he's the first one. So it's basically like he is the NBA logo. He's the Jerry West.
I think he's a fantastic leader. I do think Storm is a little bit better, but
there's some BS, Scott. Yeah, exactly.
It's really Xavier's fault, honestly. And hang on. You take hold up. You take this back right now.
No, I'm going
to give you a little bit of time to take this back. Okay, Ben Urich is one of probably my favorite side character in the Marvel universe.
You haven't met the Night Nurse.
Huh?
I said the Night Nurse was pretty solid in The Oath.
Night Nurse is solid, but
What is going on, Fable? If you guys are not checking out Fable on Instagram, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a crime not to be on the Blame Fable Tonight show, the lead into Rock and Robbie Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a great show. I've cameoed on it a few times. But Brother Joe sings everyone in, and then we start talking about their different themes. They have a movie segment. They have a kind of like a news segment, a blaming segment. It's great. It's one of the best shows. It's fantastic. It's all love in that show, and it's probably the most genuine show in the comic community.
Can I put Chet in timeout?
No.
Can I put Chet in timeout for that?
No, I don't want my co-host to come back next week with a broken arm.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
you want me to end up like Dimitri from Cobra Kai in season 3?
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna shake. Yeah, no.
He stepped up. Dimitri's my boy in that show now.
Hey, Dimitri is pretty solid. Dimitri's pretty solid.
You know what else was pretty solid? Inferno #4.
Oh my gosh, Inferno #4. All right, so this is by Jonathan Hickman, art by Valerio Schiti. Yep. Your dad has your back. He's never seen Chet. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right, so we're in the Terra Verde where the Omega Sentinel and Nimrod are confronting. So they lured Eric and Charles into there. We have a bunch of agents that show up, but that is no match for Nimrod and the Omega Sentinel because they're basically like, yeah, you guys don't matter. We know this stuff. So they kill them, and then they're eventually going after Charles and Eric. There's a huge fight scene going on. On the flip side, we see Mystique and Moira and Destiny all together. Okay. Cyclops saying, trying to live his best life. I mean, you know what? I think it could be a good character moment. I actually think that's the best thing for Cyclops because now you can just really see how unique he is of a character. You know, I'm excited. It gives him a new dynamic. So,
Brandon, you say that, but I really don't want my co-host coming back next week with a broken arm.
Well, Cyclops hasn't really done anything other than kind of just being that figure. Let him be one in a grander scale.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. His costume makes me feel like he's going to sing the Earth Song by Lil Dicky.
Right. So the whole fight between Nimrod and the Omega Sentinel, it's not meaningless. It's not the thing that matters most. So stopping Orcus, stopping these guys, it's not going to happen. The whole purpose of this world is to kind of learn how to live with them. And this whole thing that Moira's seen in the future is her trying to fix it in a different way, which is why Destiny and Mystique are going after her. Okay, so while this fight is going on, although it's great, right? The action scenes are drawn beautifully. It's not the most important segment of the book. Like, the stakes are really high. You get a lot of great dialogue between the Omega Sentinel and Nimrod, but ultimately what matters is where are Destiny and Mystique? So they cut off Moira's arm because there was a mutant tracker in there, and that's what kind of lured Charles and Magneto away from her tracker is because they wanted more time with her. Now, Myra has been doing some really funny shit behind the scenes of Krakoa. So she has tasked Forge with making a weapon or making an antidote for their mutant abilities, but it would recess the mutant gene from manifesting. So they're basically human, and they're not missing out on anything of the mutantum, of anything, right? So all their memories are there.
Yeah.
Everything is normal. It's just their X gene is not activated, but their immune system is still able to cope, which has been a problem with X-Men history is, okay, if I take this cure, X, Y, and Z happens. But
The best
that was
idea for a cure that we've gotten so far, if we were going to have one.
Right. But that was really funny acting because she built this whole safe haven for mutants, eventually just to bleed back into normal society. So Destiny and Mystique don't like that, along with the fact that once they found out in one of Myra's past lives, that's the reason why Destiny and Mystique. That's why Destiny killed Myra. Myra didn't like that. She liked her vision, so she killed Destiny and wouldn't revive her, and now this is where we are. Got it? Good. So they shoot. So we get a little flashback on their sit down with Emma. And this is kind of where I loved Emma's character. And this is one of the flaws that Jerry Dugan has as a writer. One of the only flaws is he wrote a really soft Emma Frost, except for when Kitty died and she went ham. But other than that, I think Emma Frost has been a really passive character instead of a passive-aggressive character. But Hickman wrote her as a genius, a behind-the-scenes genius. If she worked for the Court of Owls, she would be the kingpin of it. She would be the leader,
I mean, that's essentially what the Hellfire Club kind of is the Court of Owls before the Court of Owls.
Good point. Excellent point, Bryce. So Emma got them onto this weapon. That's how they know about it. Because once Emma read Moira's mind, she's like, fuck this bitch. But also, you have to understand where we are. Emma's really smart, so she knows everything that's going to happen at this point. She knows what they're planning, and she's like, you can't kill her, you can't do this, but I can tell you exactly what to do. So the whole capture that we saw in the previous issue was Mystique disguising herself as Myra and then stealing Myra once she got there. Or she didn't steal it. She disguised herself as one of the guards and then stole Myra right from Orcus. So Orcus doesn't have her anymore. When Charles and Magneto are fighting Nimrod Omega Sentinel, Charles lets out this big cry for help, and it's that was wow, you're powerful. Then Magneto got pissed off, and that's what we're dealing with over there. But what's really important is the conversation that takes place between Moira, Mystique, and Destiny. So Myra's on her last life. If you kill her, all of this goes away. You can't kill Myra because this vision goes away. Everything that the mutant race has worked for goes away when we're back towards square one. As a writer, Hickman's not doing that. That's out of the option, but it's also giving you a little bit of stakes to work with. They used that weapon that she made for Forge, that Forge was didn't even want to make in the first place. They shot her with it. So, now she's human. That means we're locked into this timeline.
Yeah.
It means that Krakoa matters. Krakoa will always be there. It doesn't matter if Myra dies or not, because we suppressed her X gene. All the memories of this world are still intact if we're doing that with her mutant powers. Okay?
Yeah, if Moira dies, she's just dead.
Right, she's dead and she won't come back. She gets that was her goal all along, is to bleed into society. She gets that. But now, what was really cool about the scene is Cypher comes in. Cypher is the mutant who is able to speak to Krakoa. He has translating abilities, so he is the reason why the X-Men are able to live on Krakoa. And we learned in the previous issue that he has set up little, almost like webcams, like nanny cams on Myra, because he didn't trust her from the get-go. He didn't trust her and Charles and Magneto from the get-go. Okay? So he's like, well, now in Krakoa we have kill no man. Right? He's like, that is our law. You made her a human. Right? Now, what do you guys want more than anything? And by the way, you guys, if any of this is confusing or you have a question, leave it in the chat below and maybe we can answer it. Yeah. But what's really important about this
because it is
now Destiny cannot get her revenge. What do her and Mystique value more than anything is their relationship being together for the first time in this age of X-Men on Krakoa. They can live together, which they didn't have because Myra stunted her resurrection. Now, if they kill Myra, they will be abandoned, right? And they won't get resurrected. If they try to kill Cypher, right, who is proposing all of this, they won't get resurrected, or they will die trying because of Warlock and then Cypher's new girl from Araco from the Ten of Swords event. She comes in, and I forget her name. Maybe her name is like on the preview page. It is not on there because she doesn't matter. Cool. But
Ouch.
anyway, so that's why you can't kill Cyphers, because then, like, no matter what happens, they won't get resurrected because Myra will make sure of it. Like, it's impossible. Okay.
Yeah.
So Myra is okay. Yeah, no, we're not doing this. Now the biggest complaint about Krakoa of how they can move forward is, okay, we need to keep our power, right? But now we have a checks and balances system, right? Now the genius of the Quiet Council is you have everyone on the Quiet Council as a certain piece to the puzzle to create that balance. It's a balance of characters. It's a balance of personalities, right? Eric and Charles Xavier died fighting Nimrod and the Omega Sentinel, but that no longer matters because they won't be the extinction of the mutants for years to come now because Myra is human. So essentially, like, that fight is not irrelevant, but it created more of like a fear in Magneto and Charles that they're not the most powerful. Emma Frost resurrects them, but the whole point of the Quiet Council now is that we have the two nations founders, Eric and Charles. We have the faithful, which is Storm and Nightcrawler. We have the trustworthy, which is Cyclops. Okay, we have the innocent children, which
Colossus,
is Douglas.
not Cyclops.
Colossus, my bad. Colossus is the trustworthy one, sorry. Cyclops is not on the Quiet Council. We have Douglas, who is the innocent child, right? He's the guy who's going to follow the rules. We have the Broken Keepers, which is Emma Frost, which is like, okay, you can trust me, but I'm also going to, like, backstab you in a way where you don't know I backstabbed you. We have the heroes, which is Kate Pryde, basically Emma's protege. And then we have the villain, which is like Sebastian Shaw, is like a dick. We have the two killers being Mystique and Destiny, the liars, which is Sinister, and then the true believers, which I believe that is Proteus.
I think it's Exodus.
Or Exodus, sorry, Exodus. So
Proteus doesn't have a physical form,
Exodus,
I think. Does he right now?
Exodus, you're right. It was Exodus. I misspoke. So we have a big blend of personalities, and that's what's going to be what Immortal X-Men is going to be about, written by Kieran Gillen, and the art is going to be by Bob Quinn. No, it's not going to be by Bob Quinn. It is going to be by... Who's the art? Who's doing the art? I can't remember. Oh, Lucas Wernick.
Oh, yes.
Who did
that was the one thing I
Trial
liked
Magneto. Yeah, it was a highlighted Trial of Magneto. But that was really interesting because now we have a different... Krakoa has learned. This is really their first big phase as a nation. Is, okay, how do we deal with this internal problem? Which is trust, which is we're trying to do things for the right reason, but we're keeping it a secret. Now there are no secrets. Colossus is a great one you can trust. Krakoa era has been so much fun. I agree. And I think it's really what we're dealing with now. Everyone's saying Hickman is leaving. Everyone knows Hickman will return. This whole phase, interesting Al Ewing and Kieran Gillen to drive this forward, to get it to the point where Hickman can return, to push everything forward, is we need to develop the Quiet Council. We need to live in this new world, kind of post Myra McTaggart. So now, like, everyone in the Quiet Council is going to know what's going on, right? Not just the brain trust of Professor X, Magneto, and Myra McTaggart, because Myra is not a hands-on person, and Myra gets to walk away. Destiny gets to keep her, and Mystique, they get to keep their power so they can keep other people in check. So that was really like the whole big solution of this project, is how do we live with having that swagger of being Krakoa? How are we going to deal with the eventual, like, we're trusting one person's vision who's doing all of this for A, her own personal gain, and B, in spite of someone else. Which I think is really important. So that's what we're dealing with. And the next age of the X-Men is we're going to be more intertwined with Earth. We're going to develop Araco more. And there is going to be some bigger force that is going to be developed, because we've already seen kind of like the cosmos not taking well to Araco. So I'm excited for that. And then we also have like our teams getting reevaluated and all of that because we are in a new age where there is a new democracy.
Yeah. We've also got Brand and her plan as of the last issue of Sword.
Right.
Kind of
Ooh, my hip just
taking.
back in. That's why I paused.
Oh, you good?
Yeah.
But yeah, Brand is gonna have a lot of moving parts in the X-Men Red series, and she could end up being a major problem. She is
Right.
gonna end up being a major problem.
Right, but everyone who's saying, "Oh, Hickman didn't stick the landing," I think you're gonna find out like in another year or two, or another like 3 years. I don't think like this is anything. The people who are judging this so preconceived is I think this is going to be a story that is slower paced. It's going to have a long span to where if you are following it, you are going to be rewarded. I guarantee it. Right? I think this is all part of Hickman's plan. When I spoke to Leah Williams, she basically confirmed this, that I'm not allowed to talk about her saying that she confirmed this because she confirmed it, then didn't confirm it, then confirmed it again, and that's the whole thing. So make it out for what you will. But I'm really excited for what's yet to come, and I think that this was a great first trilogy of the X-Men.
Oh yeah, for sure. With House of X, Powers of X, Ten of Swords, and this.
Right.
No, I mean I didn't read a whole lot of Ten of Swords just because I don't know, I need to go back and read through it all. But what I did read, I would agree it was definitely a great first act to what I think will end up being an eventual saga as opposed to a typical run.
Right. And this is changing the way we see mutants for years to come. This could be the status quo for the next 10 years, could be the status quo for the next 15 or 20. So people who are sleeping on this now are eventually going to go back and read it. So do yourself the favor, be on it from jump. It's a great story. The only thing I don't like is that we kind of lose that sense of different motives in the X-Men universe. Because like if you read Emma Frost 10 years ago, you read Sinister 10 years ago, you read any of these guys 10 years ago, it's like their situation completely changed. We're dealing with Genosha. Actually, Genosha was already like fallen at this point. But 15 years ago, we had Genosha. So it's like everyone had their different motives and characters were more true to form. This is more like, okay, how can we cohesively live together?
No, definitely. And I think, like, at least for Charles and Magneto, this was the common end goal that they had in mind. They just didn't know it. They just didn't know it 10 years ago.
Right.
Like, they didn't know that they could come to an agreement.
Right, and do all of this, which I think that is the beauty of what we're in right now. And the future of Krakoa, I will say, is going to be a lot different. And now this is really going to be the phase in how we learn how the X-Men are going to exist in humanity to build almost that like immortality, like the X-Men as a concept, as a name brand will always be there. And now we're just going to learn how we can integrate that into some normal society now, right? So they're not so abrasive. And I will say like that's the biggest thing to look forward to. But if you guys have a certain feeling towards this, everyone's opinions are welcome, but I'm really excited for it. Now, I will say I'm not going to be as heavy on like some of the spin-off stories because I did do that and I was disappointed by some of them. Some of them have not stuck their landing. Some of them really did stick their landing, but I will say I will be more cautious about how I go about those books in the future.
Personally, I'm more excited after Inferno than I was for a long time. I do think they kind of gave the different writers a little too much leeway rather than having them stick to. And I don't know if this was Hickman's vision all along,
right?
But I think if we would have had a more clear path throughout all of the ongoing series that we've had, I would have enjoyed this phase a little bit more. But all of the Hickman stuff I enjoyed. I enjoyed a good bit of X-Force, all of Way of X. Like, I enjoyed a good chunk of all of this stuff. I'm definitely excited for Immortal X-Men and X-Men Red.
Well, you dropped X-Force at the right time. You dropped... Yeah. Wolverine has been a little bit lackluster, but if they're hopefully the 10 lives and 10 deaths of Wolverine, gonna be great. But yo, come on,
Marauders is getting ready to relaunch.
They need to hate us.
Yeah, they got two more than the pack do, John. So
I mean, you know what?
But I mean, Marauders is getting ready to relaunch, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve
With,
Orlando's doing
Steve
it, and
Orlando.
I know Dakin's on the team, and I know that they're completely changing up that roster.
Yeah. And then
So
Excalibur recently ended.
that's going to be continued in Knights of X or something like that, or like
Knights of X. Okay.
is it Knights of X or like something with a knight at the end? But
Something. Yeah.
I'm excited for that because it's more
Is New
Betsy and
Mutants still
Jimmy
going?
Evans. Yeah, New Mutants still going on. I think Vita's still writing it. X-Men Red, which is going to be on the red planet of Araco, written by Al Ewing. So that's like where Sword is going to be venturing off into. Or maybe he can keep them both running like simultaneously. That would be dope. But
last issue of Sword was the final issue. Unfortunately, but
Sword was great.
I mean, it's basic. X-Men Red is basically going to be a continuation, just
right.
Maybe a different cast of characters.
We're getting Legion of X, which is Cy Spurrier coming back, and I was like, that's exciting. Like Cy Spurrier is honestly like I really like his perspective on like religion and magic concepts. I love the way, he just gets Nightcrawler. I think like he's like some people just when you have that connection to Nightcrawler, you just get him and like how dark he is, but also how like kind of like bright he is on the outside, right?
Exactly.
He looks dark, but he comes off as really bright, but on the inside hidden away.
And with Nightcrawler being probably my favorite mutant, I'm gonna be all over Legion of X.
Yeah, Knights of X.
I'm super excited.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for what we have coming out. I think the title I'm least excited for is Marauders, but that's because I like Jerry Dugan a lot. But he is doing the X-Men main title, and he's doing a great job. I think Jerry Dugan's and with Marvel as a whole, with their brain trust right now, it is like exquisite. You have Hickman, who's planning some big bad event. You have Al Ewing, you have Kieran Gillen, you have Dan Slott, who's a great writer.
Chip Zdarsky.
You have Chip Zdarsky. He's not really like an event writer like these guys. I wouldn't say like Zdarsky.
Devil's Reign has been
Zdarsky. For today's sake and purposes, let's throw Zdarsky in there, and you have Jerry Dugan, Kelly Thompson as well. I'll throw into that, and Jed McKay. I would say Donnie Cates, right? Going forward, that is your brain trust of at Marvel right now, and Jason Aaron. Fuck it, throw Jason Aaron in there. Say what you want about his Avengers being trash, but he's a really exceptional writer, and I think that he is still going to be one of the more well-received writers in the modern age when it comes down to like historical, like 10, 20 years from now when he's no longer writing. I think Jason Aaron's stories have a lot more longevity than a lot of creators than a lot of people give him credit for.
Like, I read his Doctor Strange last year and fell in love with it. I'm currently reading his Thor, and I'm probably going to check out his Punisher, his new Punisher series coming up, as well as his Punisher Max run.
Well, Clea is the Sorcerer Supreme going forward to bring back Doctor Strange. So we're learning about their relationship because Clea is back, and we're going to learn how Wong interacts with Clea. But if you want more of that, I would check out my interview I did with Jim McKay last Wednesday.
Yeah, and read Death of Doctor Strange. It's been a great series.
Death of Doctor Strange. It's been phenomenal. I've really, really enjoyed Doctor Strange. And I'm excited that Jed is going to be playing. I'm going to rephrase what I'm saying. He's going to be writing more stories using like Doctor Strange. Because I think Doctor Strange is one of those characters that doesn't always need a series, right? Just whenever someone actually says, hey, you know what? I have a great idea for Doctor Strange. And when he's not crossing over in every single title because Marvel loves doing that. But Jed McKay's the perfect person for it.
And it seems like he's kind of having an idea right now similar to what Jason Aaron did with Thor, because like Death of Doctor Strange seems like his god of thunder leading into his mighty Thor with Strange.
Right.
Like they play very well off of each other in a similar vein. And if the precedent is any indication, then this series coming up is going to be pretty fantastic.
Right. But anyway, guys, I think that is going to be the show coming up on the channel before y'all go on Wednesday. Stefan and I for Christ on Infinite Rants, Peace, PR, Bad Batch. We are going to be talking about kind of how Marvel's always had like kind of that bullpen of writers up and coming. So we're going to be discussing like kind of Marvel writers throughout the years. So I'm excited for that. That'll be dropping 1 p.m. Eastern time. Archives, we have Civil War coming out this Friday. took a week off. Everything has been a little bit rough on this end, so I've gotten a chance to edit that video yet. So that's going to be dropping on Friday. Following week, we're doing House of M. So that show also drops at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So stay tuned for that. And then Creators Corner will be announced very, very soon. We got Rudy up in here. What's going on, Rudy? I'm glad to see you in here.
Going on,
Thank you for
man.
joining. And then Steven says, been rooting for Magic to be the next Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, but I think like Marvel vetoed that. It's like, oh wait, we're gonna use her for X-Men. She's an important character. She's becoming an important character. So I'd love to see her like kind of be the next superstar. I think she's ready to hit hard.
Oh yeah.
And then back, start all over again. X-Men 6 recap. There you go.
It's pretty funny.
But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This show is I Want to Catch Live show, 8 p.m. Eastern time every single Monday. Never miss out a show. Other than that, you guys take care. Have a good rest of your Monday. Let's get this roll call going. Station!